Well, it's official. I still hate Fruit Loops. What on earth?
Hey, man.
Paul! How did you get out of my vault?
I am fine, by the way. Turns out you can survive on barbecue wrap for some time. To my surprise, they're pretty tasty. Not a lot of meat on them, so you no longer have a rat problem down there.
I'm going to have to put in a rat order. But never mind that. You still haven't answered my question.
I'd like you to meet my savior, Elsa. We're dating.
Simply breathtaking. Wait, where did you come from?
In your vault, silly. Bumped into each other while hunting for rats.
This doesn't make any sense. My vault?
Yep, your vault.
My vault.
Mm-hmm.
But how?
One of life's great mysteries, I guess. Aren't you, baby?
Huh. So can she talk, or is it just the whole unsettling hissing scream thing?
Yeah, it's mostly just hissing. She's a fantastic listener, though.
Well, I gotta admit, I'm jealous, man. You snagged yourself quite the catch.
Thanks, man. We're so happy.
Most of the, how do I put this? Guests of my vault don't usually have such a happy ending. Most end up as decorations, to be honest.
Wait, so you genuinely locked me in your vault?
Well, is that the doorbell? I better just go answer it.
I didn't hear anything. Did you, sweetie?
Fruit Loops.
Boo! Welcome to Into the Minds of Madness. I'm your bride, Paul McWhirter. Sitting with me is your Frankenstein, Mr. Chris Dicker.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Oh, very well.
What did we just watch?
Well, I think you kind of gave it away, but we just watched the fantastic The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes, the sequel to Frankenstein.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm.
What year did this come out?
I want to say 34.
There were a lot of German weird references.
Oh yes, it's the usual classic horror movie. Even Hammer were guilty of it. Wherever, like, if it was set in Germany or Spain or something like that, everyone spoke perfect English, but every now and then there'd be a Stein thrown onto the end of something.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Goodness gracious. I must admit I loved it. As I told you, I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
35.
35.
1935.
Oh, so 32 wasn't too far off.
I was close.
Nice. That's actually really good. Well done. I commend you.
Well, thank you.
That was great. But yeah, like I was saying, it was a very clear storyline. There were very clear motivations. Yeah, there was something about it that I just really enjoyed.
Yeah, good.
You know, like I've told you, I have seen. So the director was James Whale.
Yes.
Who directed The Invisible Man also,
And the original Frankenstein.
I have seen The Invisible Man like a fair few years ago and really enjoyed that too. So like, I think this is actually kind of, after two really good old horror movies directed by the same person, I kind of think that I'm getting into like classic horror now.
You've started off with two great ones.
Yeah.
Two of the more accessible but still very outstanding pieces of film. They really stand out for the time. Some of the effects, and as you said, it's very simple. You know what's going on, and you just watch it happen. It's
a lot of time a lot of the exposition is very obvious.
Yes.
But I guess for the time that was there wasn't much subtlety in filmmaking.
Well,
either, was there?
it was still considered a lot of these films like shooting a play, and as like in the opening credits, it's the players.
Of course, yes,
and that's why it does come across as it feels like overacting, and they are no subtlety, as you said.
Yeah.
but it's still they're coming out of that.
And saying,
transition.
there he is, there he comes, like,
Yeah.
and telling you what's happening, even though we can see it on screen.
We're,
Still explaining what's happening.
yeah,
Pardon me.
we're still like maybe 5 years into film really being something, and like making the transition from stage to film, and film replacing the theater as a source of entertainment.
Yeah. So let's start from the start.
Yeah.
Like, as you said earlier, talking about introducing them as the players.
Yes.
And it didn't even say starring. It said
No, they rarely did.
featuring the players, ... and then the list of everybody.
That's it, yeah. And as most old films from this time, it was always at the beginning of the film, so you could see who you were about to watch. And as I pointed out to you, Karloff, all the rest of the players have both their names up, but Karloff is just his last name is there. The monster is played by Karloff, and that was a sign back then that you had made it. It was Universal had their stable of actors for horror, so they would put on the sign Lugosi, they'd put on Karloff, and that would bring people in. Some posters, their name would be even bigger than the name of the movie.
Okay.
So
And you did mention as well, which I did not notice, that the woman who plays the bride and also the writer.
Yes, Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley. And I guess the cold open of the movie, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, it is a bit of a cold open.
Prologue.
Yeah, it kind of sets it up as we've made a sequel to Mary Shelley's story, and it's as if Mary Shelley is telling us her sequel.
Yeah, and it was really interesting that when it gave the actress's name,
yes,
it didn't have a character. It's just had a question mark.
Yeah, no, it said
two.
Yeah, it had her credit as Mary Shelley, but at the bottom, the last credit was the monster's bride, and big question mark next to it.
That's
So,
what it was. So
yeah.
next to the monster's bride, the question mark was okay.
And that was also put in like to cover for the fact that they didn't have it wasn't that they didn't have another actress, it was because that's the only actress they felt was right for it. She still was there as Mary Shelley, but it was like she's amazing as the bride. And
with a gorgeous bum chin.
yes.
That is a bum chin for the ages.
Ooh,
Honestly,
she's quite the cutie. But also having that as a question mark was an extra. It was more appeal to the audience because it was like, oh, who are we going to see? We could be anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just another little bit for them to get bums in seats.
Yeah. Okay. Bum chins in seats. Well, just speaking of the female actresses.
Yes.
Which there aren't many of.
No.
There is a strange thing about female hysteria in this movie.
Yes, it's very much of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, even Mary Shelley, she's sewing and she pricks her finger, and it's almost like the end of the world.
Yeah, you could almost, but I'd say she's the strongest female in the film.
Yeah, and that's kind of saying something about the rest of them.
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
Well, like for example, Elizabeth, she goes to hysterics at the mention of him continuing his work.
Yeah, yeah.
She starts rambling with something and falls on the bed.
Yeah.
As most women seem to do in these movies, they're written as these just fragile balls of emotion.
and roadblocks all the time. Like,
yeah.
I mean, okay. It's not a great example, but the Bride of Frankenstein herself.
Yeah.
Just screams the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not confusing. It makes sense to the character because she's just been reanimated, of course.
Well, she's been born. She wasn't reanimated because her brain was grown. See, that's a Pretorius's influence.
Okay, that's the Pretorius influence there. Of course, and that's why she still looks, I guess, undamaged.
Yeah, that's why it's like
not decomposed.
That's why you only see the stitches around her face because it's peeled the face back to add the features.
Of course, that makes sense. Yes, of course. But then you have the head maid, I guess you'd call her, or the housekeeper.
Oh yes,
the
her
head housekeeper.
Oh
who's
yeah,
constantly shrieking.
God, at times I felt like turning the movie down because it hurts.
It was grating.
Yeah,
it was really grating.
It's
taking the mistress. It's taking the mistress.
And she's that woman who, the one who like can't keep to herself. She has to get into everyone's business. Like she has a go at when they've imprisoned the monster, and they're all the townsfolk are looking through the bars, and the burger master tells them off, get out of here. And she's like, make sure it doesn't escape this time, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Keep your business to yourself and all that. And yet you're the one sticking your head into the bars and pissing off the burgomaster.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
a fantastic name.
Yeah, the burgomaster. And I love it how he's at that point. He's like, "Shut up, you stupid woman."
Yeah,
And then later on, he's like, "It's all fine, my good woman." About 5 minutes later, like he
Yeah.
hates her for 1 second. Then he's like, "Oh, whatever,
yeah,
she's fine." Yeah, I just feel bad for most of the women in this movie anyway, because they're set up. They're all set up as roadblocks or just shriekers.
that's
Yeah.
It's always that's the time. Unfortunately, it is annoying because you look at it with our sensibilities and all that, and you see like, why would she say that? If she was normal, she would have said something. She would have reacted to it normally.
Yeah,
She
reacted to it normally. Yeah,
wouldn't have fallen down and.
most
Yeah.
women in these movies are just like, there's something like wrong with them. Like they can't think straight. None of them can. Like
No, like, and
there's no rational thought.
no, like even at the end when everything's going down and the bride's born and all that sort of shit, there's an altercation with the monster, and all of a sudden Elizabeth is banging on the door. And it's just like, Elizabeth, why are you doing this? Like, you can tell Frankenstein's like, why? Why are
Yeah.
you putting yourself in danger?
Yeah.
But speaking of just the contradictions before, there's many a quick contradiction in this film. Like, there's the moment where Frankenstein and Pretorius they're working on getting this new heart to work, on its own in a jar. Pretorius walks over to him and he says, "Is it ready? Can we put it in?" And Frank's like, "No, it still needs time." And Pretorius like, "How's the brain?" "Oh, it's perfect. It's ready." Then Frankenstein, "Oh, all right. Now we should put it in now." So in the 5 seconds it took to talk about the brain, it's
Shall
totally
we?
Yeah, shall we? Shall we?
Like they're going for a stroll. Like
Oh, they're very blasé about things, aren't they?
it could rain. Should we take an umbrella? We might as well.
This heart's not working. Fetch me another. There's always an accident, as
Yeah.
Pretorius says.
Pretorius.
But Pretorius, though, he's my favorite character in the film.
He's
sure.
mad. To be honest, he reminds me of I reckon like Peter Cushing could have played.
I was
that.
just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that great. I've said it to you many a time because I've gushed about Peter Cushing and Christopher
I'm
Lee.
sure we'll go into this.
Oh yes, we
at
will.
a later date.
There's another.
Oh yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Peter Cushing, of course, played Baron Frankenstein many a time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
much to look forward to.
Yeah.
But Peter Cushing, I've said this to you before. He has this kind of way, like a attitude about him, like, I am above this, but I'm still going to do it the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm so trained and professional, but I'm still going to be the best I can. And the actor who plays Pretorius does it so well. He does it with the same professionalism that Peter Cushing would, and he's having fun. He's really enjoying. You can tell he's really enjoying
You
what
can
he's
see
doing.
it in his eyes, can't
Yeah,
you?
he loves he's this chilling figure, this character
Yeah.
who's just, as I said before, just wants to see what happens. And yeah, he
and go
stands
hard
out.
while he can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he just enjoys. Pretorius indulges in when they go down to the crypt and they steal the 19-year-old girl's body. He sends his workers home, and I'm just going to stay here for a little bit, and
then
brings out a bottle of wine and
And-
some bread.
and
Has a
just
smoke.
drinks wine with the skeleton.
Yeah, he's got some. He's found a skull and some bones and put them on top of the thing, and talking about to the bride of the monster. Or
So strange.
yeah, but he's great. He just made that movie so much, and the way they presented him was really interesting. Like the use of shadow and like, even his hair. It reminded me a lot of like 1920 silent horror films. When we go to his lab and we see his creations, he's showing Dr. Baron Frankenstein. The strange angles and the almost looking like painted on shadows is something of. There was a movement of experimental film in Germany during the 20s, and there was films like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu, and lots of playing with shadows and like actually painting on the shadows of the background to the set, and
Okay.
to give this really unsettling, like with lots of angles and stuff. And as soon as I saw that lab, that's the feeling I got was everything's
Alright.
off kilter.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, even when he goes and sees Frankenstein, just like while he's still at his bed and all that, the shadow that is loomed onto him when he walks in. So our good friend the maid.
Yes.
Presents
A wonderful
him,
friend of
a
mine.
wonderful friend presents him as Nocta Praetorius, and it's like a crack of lightning
That's
and the
true,
shadow,
yeah.
or like his huge
Yeah.
shadow of him on the wall.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. There's something really, really compelling about him as well, and I don't know what. And it's as you were saying about before when he introduces his little friends, and those effects are incredible.
Oh my god. Oh yes, it's one of my favorite scenes in film. It's just so, it blows me away. I don't know how they did something like that back in 1935.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So like Pretorius is working on, he's the opposite of Baron Frankenstein. Frankenstein works in dead tissue. He's trying to reanimate dead flesh, whereas Pretorius is trying to grow and actually make a new race of people. But he's only been able to make them about 10 centimeters tall. But we've got a queen sitting there doing the little wave and all that. And we've got our fat king,
Yes.
who is in love with the queen.
Yeah.
And
He's a glutton.
he's a glutton, yes. And he's the troublemaker. As Pretorius has got to keep an eye on the king and moves him across the
Yes,
table.
He moves across the table. I love that moment too.
Yeah.
That he like actually says, "Oh, gotta keep an eye on him."
Yes.
Just over there, out of his eyesight.
Mm.
Cheeky king then gets out a little bit later.
He does. He gets out
Cheeky king.
and does one of the most amazing pieces of just practical effects. Runs across the table whilst Pretorius is in frame and all other the tiny people.
all
runs
like 3 or 4 others.
Runs
Yeah.
across the table, jumps onto a book, jumps off the book, and jumps over a pipe, and then starts tapping on the jar.
And
with
he
the
picks
queen.
something up, doesn't he?
I believe he
Doesn't
tries
he
to.
bang something?
Yeah,
Doesn't
he,
he try and bang something?
think
on
he
it, like
does.
He's trying to break it through.
And
like
then
break through it?
not till Pretorius then uses some tweezers and lifts him up, and like the collar of his jacket
Yeah,
like lifts up,
He
and
grabs him by the scruff of his jacket.
oh, how did they do that?
It's incredible.
I love it. As I said before, like I just had a smile on my face. It's just
That movie's over 80 years old.
yeah, and you look at some of the, it's such a now thing to say, but like you look at movies now and it's all CGI and it's all fake. There's no reason. If they could do it back then, what's your reason for not being able to do it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Like Ray Harryhausen, I've mentioned him before.
That was that his work?
No. He was
Oh
well
no,
and truly
Ray
after.
Harryhausen's a lot later, isn't he?
But he was. I need to get this monster on screen. How am I going to do it? I'll figure it out, and he did it. Like this, yeah, it's amazing. One of the best scenes.
It's honestly mind-boggling how they were
Yeah.
able to do that.
And like when he brings out one of these other experiments in the jar, and it's like, I've made the devil himself.
Yes.
Looks a bit like me, don't you think? Or am I just complimenting myself?
Amazing. I feel like there are a lot of references to God and the devil as well.
Yeah, that's definitely
and,
seems to be the theme.
And
God.
playing God.
Mm.
For some reason, I thought there might have been more, like because it was referenced so early.
Yeah, you thought again, it's a movie of the time that now if they made that, there would definitely be like it would have been a heavier subject. They would have weighed on that a bit more.
Yeah.
But they still had to throw in the girlfriend. They still got to throw in, some drama and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Well, I of course we got to speak about the cheersing the gin to gods and monsters.
oh yes, one of the greatest lines.
I love that.
It is. It's a fantastic line, and the way he delivers
and
it.
he says, "Do you like gin?" Like
Yeah.
they're cheersing gin to gods and monsters.
And
to
what
like,
was gin?
to gods and monsters?
He's one of his many weaknesses.
What? Oh yeah. Well,
Gin, my only weakness.
His only weakness.
Yeah.
Which comes back and he says, "Smoking with cigars, my only weakness."
And
What a lying.
it's
piece of
another
shit.
one that just sets the tone of who he is, and
So
you
well
can't
done.
trust him. He's always using, he's trying to charm you and trying to use you for whatever it is, and by doing that, he's putting his subject at ease.
Yeah. A lot of cinematography is incredible.
Oh yeah.
But then so much of it is so fucking jarring and horrendous.
yeah,
Like,
some of the editing is
most
interesting.
most of the dialogue scenes are really jarring and really bad.
They are.
The dialogue.
It's another one where
the
like,
dialogue scenes are just so bad.
yeah, it's another example of how it's still coming out of theater, and it's
Yeah.
still they don't know how to shoot a dialogue scene.
Yeah,
How
like
do
I
they
mean,
do it?
like continuity doesn't usually bother me, but like when it's that glaring, it's
Well,
really bad.
Our friend the blind monk, who there's he's got the monster, and the monster he's putting him to sleep. He's giving him some food, and
They say a prayer together.
yeah, because he's
Well,
so
he says a prayer to him.
he says a prayer. 'Cause he's so thankful he's got a friend,
Yeah,
and he clutches the monster's hand against his chest,
like pretty much right up against his neck
on his
almost.
chin
Pretty much
almost.
almost in his
Yeah,
chin.
and then he's talking, then it cuts to him, like a close up of his face, and the hand is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and it's just very jarring.
Like if you
very
weren't
jarring.
if you weren't
watching
paying
that.
too much attention,
Oh,
you
but-
get by easy, but it is
Fucking-
very noticeable.
Fuck him. That dude is a goddamn enabler. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he is.
Smoke good.
Use smoke wine. He's the first person to show the monster any sort of kindness, and it allows him, I think, to break that barrier between being a monster and becoming some sort of human again. Like he brings back his power of speech.
Yeah, that's true.
And from then on, like after that whole his time with the monk, he can speak almost fluently near the end of the movie.
Yeah,
He has his own thoughts and motivations now.
he's a pretty quick learner.
Very
Give him
good.
that.
He picks it up real quick.
Picks
yeah,
it up real quick.
still doesn't
Uh,
understand fire.
Some
but
stuff I don't think he really even picked up. It was just came to him
Yeah.
just via osmosis.
Sometimes I kind of think like I think Carlos maybe wanted some lines.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting fucking bored.
Oh yeah.
Fucking bored. I love the bat too. That was a great bat.
Yeah, I do love when there's just a random effect that they probably shouldn't have done, but
Yeah.
let's just throw a bat on a string.
Yeah, I kind of really loved how Dr. Frankenstein kind of lost his speech for a bit at the end. He's like, when his wife came to the door, he's like, "Get me,
Get
back, Like, he-
back. What
He just-
happened?
He just something turned, and he was like, "Get me."
Maybe he was tired. Last day of shooting.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it probably was filmed that way as well. Hey, probably filmed like a play.
Probably were, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like dead set like in chronological, but I
Reckon it would've
feel
been
like they
pretty
would have.
close.
Yeah, but you just made me think. The sets,
I was just gonna say that as well.
the sets.
That tower and that shot of the tower, the way that as the
Oh,
bride
yeah.
gets risen up.
when they're
Well,
trying to.
is it when she's being risen or when she's being come back down?
No, she was
I think
rising.
it's like
She was rising up,
That,
and it was the moment of her
was-
like actually breaking up and out of the ground, out of
That's
the
what it
roof.
was.
Sorry.
and that was incredibly done.
Some of the shots and these sets were massive.
I
They're
was
huge.
blown away by that.
Like that. Yeah, it was beautiful. Like you could tell it was a model, but it was just so well done.
It was fucking amazing.
So that's when this movie, like there's the bat on a string, but then they do pull off a shot like that.
yeah,
Like wow.
yeah. Like we're talking about the contrast in
Yeah.
in characterization stuff like that. Like the contrast in shots is just. Oh man, I wish they'd taken the time with their dialogue scenes, because man, this would have been a flawless movie.
Well, yeah, you dead on it. It would've been
Except for some of the words that came out of people's mouths, but
the prison is a fantastic example of like the size and how grand everything is. Like the monster is shackled to a throne on a few steps, and you see what looks like 10 meters above him is this little barred window with the townsfolk looking in. Humongous. Like that must have been such a drop between the two.
yeah.
Humongous sets.
And there's our friend the housemaid,
Poking her
pretty
nose.
much leaning in the window.
Putting a crooked ass nose in there.
Yeah. Oh, and that was one of the other things I want to say. Remember the shepherd girl?
Oh yeah, the shepherd girl.
Yeah, her stunt. When
Wow,
when she
yeah.
falls into the lake.
Yeah, safety wasn't a priority back then,
No.
wasn't it?
And that was like a good 9-10 foot drop.
And it wasn't like it was like a pool or anything.
No, that was shallow as shit.
Her whole body, like it was like half a tall. Like
Yeah,
no, it was
that was shallow as
maybe
hell.
ankle deep.
Yeah, and how the fuck she fell into like,
Mm.
and you could okay, we saw that guy get.
Oh, thrown off the tower. Yeah, that assistant.
We saw the assistant get thrown off the tower, and you could tell that was like a rag doll, like like a dummy. That shepherd was not a dummy. That was a real person falling into that fucking ankle deep water.
Yeah,
That was fucking crazy.
that is a crazy shot. Like, you wonder if she was okay,
Yeah.
or if there was mattresses or something under
Yeah.
there. Like even Hans, he was lucky enough to have a pool to land in. Like
Yeah. Lucky motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, and that looked pretty deep. Like,
and all he had to have was the
even,
monster.
even Karloff could hardly stand in that. Like, so
Yeah,
at least it was deep enough.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But another little thing that I thought was really interesting, and I don't know why it was there, was in that scene where he kills Hans and his wife. There's a shot of an owl just before he kills either one. There's a barn owl. It's a shot for maybe a couple of seconds. It happens when you see the monster for the first time. Cuts to an owl. You see him about to kill Hans. He drowns him. Cut to an owl. And then when the wife is mistaken and pulls the monster out thinking it's Hans, he kills her, cuts to an owl. But it's just so, there must be something there that I'm missing, because why would you chuck it in there otherwise?
There must be some significance.
Maybe a mystery to be sold for another day, maybe.
Maybe. Well, maybe we should leave it on that cliffhanger. And next time we'll might come back to that and see if
we may
can
have
research
to revisit
something
the Bride sometime soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to. Well, Chris, I'm going to ask you, what do we have coming up next?
Next? Well, I believe...
Next episode.
Well, we've started with the classic, and we're going to jump well and truly a couple of decades, and an appropriate film, if you will, Pontypool.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this
Me
film.
too. I've had this in my collection for years, and I've just never gotten around to watching it. And it's not a zombie movie, but it's a zombie movie. It's like an infection-based movie, but it's spread over the air, audio waves, and
Over your ear holes.
Yes, and it follows a radio DJ having to deal with this. And what does he keep continuing on, like warning people, or is he spreading the virus? So yeah, I thought very appropriate since.
Very exciting, since everybody's listening to us.
Yes.
Who knows?
And
We might even play some clips from it and see if you get hooked. Ooh.
See what we did there.
Uh,
So yeah, we've got that to look forward to. I think I've told you this many a time. I don't like watching trailers. I like going in totally blank and just being surprised. So I've just got the faintest reminder of reading a synopsis once. So I'm looking forward to being pleasantly surprised.
Awesome. So we're going to be watching this movie freshly together, are we?
Yeah, the first time viewing for each of us.
That's very exciting.
Popping our Pontypool cherries.
But that, for me, is also terrifying because I'm really scared of jump scares.
Yeah, you don't have my
safety net this time. No, this might be... I wasn't worried about a safety net for that movie.
Yeah, I don't want to meet the person who'd be afraid of a 1935 horror movie.
Okay, well, next week you might hear at the end of the episode, a bit of a commentary of me losing my fucking mind as I watch this movie.
That might be a nice surprise. Little gift for
See
everybody.
what happens.
New theme song on the way.
Yeah. Just somebody auto-tunes my screams. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That should be fun.
All right, well, Chris, thanks so much, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That's episode 1 done.
One
Thanks
and
to
done.
Bride of Frankenstein.
You're a beautiful film.
Yeah, you are a beautiful film.
One of the favorites.
Yeah, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. Really appreciate it. That's Chris Dicker. I'm Paul McWhirter.
Thanks for having us. Rest in horror.
Rest in horror. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. Thanks to our theme songers, Gay Paris. That song is called Ash Wednesday Boudoir Party. Go and get it on Triple J Unearthed. Incredible Sydney band. Go and check them out. They haven't played a show in a while. They should. I've missed that band. Go and like us on Facebook, Into the Minds of Madness. We're at itmumpod, ITMOMPOD, at gmail.com and at itmumpod on all the other socials. Come and follow us. Please listen next week when we smash up the Canadian film Pontypool. Thanks, guys.